to the Next Gen Conservative Radio Network.
You are about to enter the analysis zone, where political correctness is non-existent, where critical thinking skills are required, and conservative common sense reigns supreme. And now, broadcasting live from
Next Gen Conservative Central Command,
it's the Whitfield Analysis. And your host is Sam Whitfield.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Whitfield Analysis Rand Paul Filibuster Special. This is segment 2 of 2. If you are just now tuning in, or if you're listening to part 2 instead of part 1, if you're listening to this before you've listened to part 1, we're talking about the Rand Paul filibuster this evening. I can't imagine why you would be listening to this segment if you haven't listened to the last segment, but anyway, some people do weird stuff like that. I just read an old article of mine about how the GOP needs to grow some colonies. Basically, my point in that article, folks, when I wrote that article, the November election had not occurred. I wrote that on August 10th of 2012. And what I said in the article, basically to sum it up in a nutshell, my point that I was trying to get across to my readers and to the audience was that the GOP establishment, the Republican Party, must grow a pair of cojones in order to win the election. Now, let me define that a little further to you, because some of you are not going to get some of you out there who don't follow politics that much may think that Republicanism and conservatism is the same thing. And folks, they're not. Gotta clear my throat here. Folks, the Republican Party over the last about 5 to 10 years, something happened to the Republican Party where the establishment leaders such as John McCain and Lindsey Graham, the old generation of Republicans, Newt Gingrich is in there as well. There's this old guard of Republicans. John McCain, Lindsey Graham, a couple others. John Boehner, sadly, is in this category now too. They are moderate Republicans, meaning that they compromise a lot with the Obama administration on certain things. Now, conservatism, our key principles are limited government, fiscal responsibility. We believe that the individual can do the best for themselves when the government is out of their lives. But we also have a set of moral principles, too, that go with conservatism. Most conservatives believe in traditional marriage, defending that. We're not homophobic. I have gay friends. I think Caden Cowker has gay friends, and he's been the one out of the four of us at Junior Factor Nation. He's been the biggest one who has gotten attacked for his views on homosexuality. We have homosexual friends, but we believe in protecting the traditional nuclear family. And we believe that God was a big part of our founding principles, as described by the Founding Fathers. The Founding Fathers, folks, have stated that God was a big part of their decision. The history revisionists on the left are now trying to rewrite history and saying that because some of the founders were deists, they did not believe in the power of divine providence. Well, this is not true. But anyway, folks, the reason I bring up the definition of conservatism is conservatives basically are very pro-life. We defend marriage. And other than that, we pretty much adhere to the Constitution, which states that, which basically states that, in the Bill of Rights, which basically states that the government works and American society functions when the government is out of people's lives and takes a minimalist role in the lives of people. And the moderates of the Republican Party, like John McCain and Lindsey Graham, they're okay with compromising with Barack Obama, a radical socialist president. I shan't dare call him a dictator yet, because then my liberal listeners would freak out and not hear anything else that I've said. But folks, I don't know what's happened to the GOP establishment. The last really conservative president we had was Ronald Reagan. His presidency ended in 1989. That's almost 25 years ago, folks. Yeah, that's 20-some odd years ago. I'm sorry for the dead air there, but I actually use that dead air because I want you to think about that, folks. Think about that for a sec. We have not had a conservative president, a truly conservative president, since Ronald Reagan. Now, going back to the filibuster. Alright, so fast forward to 2013. So, here's John McCain and the GOP establishment. Actually, no. Let's rewind the clocks back to 2010. Alright, so the GOP establishment, the established leaders like Lindsey Graham and John McCain, are basically saying, yeah, we might not agree with Barack Obama on very many policies, but you know what? He's our president, and we have to play along with him for the sake of playing politics, because that's how the game is played. And forget conservative leaders like Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, Mark Levin. They're out of touch. Those old-time conservatives like Barry Goldwater and I'm forgetting. Forget old-time die-hard, staunch conservatives like William Buckley, and that's the guy I was thinking of. Bill Buckley, the founder of National Review. They're saying forget leaders like Bill Buckley and Barry Goldwater. Forget old-time conditional conservatism. The American people, they don't like us anymore because we're too conservative. So we've been in the GOP establishment for a while, but for some reason we feel that we have to moderate our views in order to get people to like us. Now, I'm doing an imitation of John McCain, and of course that probably wasn't what he was thinking, but that's kind of how it comes across to the American people. Here's the thing, folks. At some point, and I remember reading articles about this after the 2008 election and after the 2012 election. And folks, this is extremely important because not too many people picked up on this except for those of us who were paying attention. In the aftermath of the 2012 election, in the aftermath of the 2008 election, all of the Republican GOP establishments, like Karl Rove, and yes, I am calling out Karl Rove here, all of the GOP establishment, like Karl Rove and John McCain, who was our running mate, were all crying out, well, why didn't we win the election? Why didn't we win the election? Why didn't we win the election? Now, the mainstream media, the MSM media, which is controlled by the left. Yes, the media establishment is dominantly controlled by the left. I've said that many times over the years, and we know this to be true. They have all perpetuated this lie in these news stories over the past couple of years that the GOP keeps losing because they're too conservative. But yet, not very many Americans, not very many average Americans, and when I'm talking average, I'm talking about those who don't follow politics very much. I'm talking about those who only get involved in politics when election time comes around, and then the rest of the year or the rest of the 4 years just sit on their butts and do nothing. The average voter who only follows politics when it comes to voting time doesn't know very much. They don't know the difference between conservatism and liberalism like I do. And so they see that, and so they hear the newspaper, and so, sorry, bad glitch there. They read the newspaper, they watch TV, they hear the mainstream media radio reports, the few that are out there, saying that the Republican Party is being too conservative, and they see a moderate like John McCain, and they think that's conservative. It's not. So, folks, here's the problem. We've got a moderate / liberal Republican Party. Basically, John McCain and Lindsey Graham and even John Boehner now, have become rhinos, Republicans in name only. They think that, well, you can negotiate with a liberal. You can negotiate with a liberal. You can negotiate with a liberal. Folks, there's no negotiating with the left. It's their way or the highway. That's how the game is played. The left does not compromise with conservative values. They would rather commit suicide than compromise with one of our uber conservative leaders. They don't play ball with us. We either have to play ball with them or nothing. It's their way or the highway. But it's gotten so bad that now the Republican Party is saying, okay, not only will we play nice with you because we want to be in the cool kids crowd. See, here's the other thing, folks. I made this analogy a couple years back. But Washington, D.C. is kind of like high school. And yes, I know what I'm talking about because I still am a high school student, so I'll use this analogy while I still can. But in high school, you've got the popular kids, or the quote-unquote popular kids, who are really actually just a whole bunch of unscrupulous people, and they're fornicators, and they're fakes, basically. They're popular for being popular, but that's about it. I mean, most of you know who I'm talking about. Okay, they're those type of high school kids. They're popular, but they're jerks as well. Now, Obama and the Obama administration and the Democratic regime, they're the cool kids. They're all like, yo, what up? We just won the election. No, take that back. We just won 2 elections because we're so cool and we're so hip and oh, look at those nerds over there. The Republican Party. What a bunch of nerds. What a bunch of losers. But, you know, if they were to come over to our side, then they'd be a cool kid. So, John McCain and Lindsey Graham are like, well, hey, he called me a nerd and a loser. I don't like that very much. So, hey, I'm gonna go. Maybe I should go play with, maybe I should join the cool crowd. So they do. They give up their values to go play with the cool kids. To go hang out with the cool kids and smoke joints in the parking lot and whatnot. And then it gets so bad that they're kind of like, hey, you know what? I don't know what we were thinking before. This is awesome. Do you want to go out to dinner? Yeah, let's all start hanging out in each other's social circles and in each other's backyards. So now they're essentially in bed with the left. That is the Republican name. Only Republicans are. So the old-time Republicans who would rather go play with the cool kids now. Now, folks, I'm being completely serious. So that's my high school analogy, folks. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Now, this is going to get weird because I'm about ready to use another analogy, which is old-time GOP establishment, fuddy-duddy establishment, versus the new kids in town. Okay, so we already established that John McCain and Lindsey Graham and whatnot want to be part of this clique. they want to play with the cool kids. So, over this sequester thing and whatnot, among other issues, they decide to go out with Barack Obama. They decide to go out with Barack Obama in the establishment, and they decide to go out and have dinner with him. I think it was a social dinner, but I'm sure they were talking business, and basically, the way Rush Limbaugh put it, and the way I would put it, they were playing footsie with Obama under the table. And now they're basically saying, hey, we just want to get this whole thing resolved, so we'll have dinner with you and we'll play nice with you, because that's what we do now. Alright, so meanwhile, they're sucking up to Obama and the left. Now, the American people have seen what the establishment, Republicans like John McCain and Lindsey Graham have been doing. We've been seeing this for a while, folks, and all of us are saying, what the heck? You're not conservative anymore. Come back to the conservative side, but John McCain is saying, oh no, we must work together and we must compromise with the cool kids now. So they're saying that to us, and they're saying we're gonna have dinner with them even. So they go out to dinner. They play footsie with Obama under the table. Meanwhile, the true conservatives in Washington, D.C., the young conservatives, and they are young and they are conservative too. The young conservatives, the true future leaders of this country, I believe, like Senator Rand Paul, like Marco Rubio, and like Ted Cruz, they are all Tea Party candidates, and they're diehard conservatives. And the left is really saying, oh, well, you'll never get into our popular group. You want to get into our popular group? You have to become like these guys. Now, Rand Paul and Marco Rubio are saying, forget your social clique. We want to stick to our values. We don't care if we're the unpopular kids in Washington. We were sent here by our people to make change. So the left is saying, okay, fine, well, we'll just mock you as we did with these guys. So they make a big deal out of the water bottle thing with Marco Rubio and a whole bunch of other stuff. That doesn't stop Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz and Rand Paul from doing the wonderful 12-hour filibuster that they did on Wednesday. And they basically said Obama's policies are unconstitutional. They are against the American value system. And I mean, they filibustered for 12 hours. And it was refreshing. I mean, I even have some Democratic friends who are like, wow, that was so different from anything I've ever seen. He's speaking about Rand Paul was speaking about the Constitution, folks, in ways that a lot of older people like my parents and grandparents have not heard in a while. And to my generation, to the majority of my generation, it's all new because we've never heard conservatives speak like that before in our age group. So, Rand Paul filibusters, and the young conservatives filibuster, and there are a couple Democrats even who in terms of this drone strike thing are saying, hey, wait, we don't think it's all right that Obama's usurping all this power either. So this filibuster happens for 12 hours. Rand Paul is constantly talking for 12 hours about the Constitution and about America's founding values and whatnot. We have not seen that in years, folks. And it is scaring the liberal establishment. I mean, Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, a couple of the other liberal establishments were probably, pardon my French, they were probably crapping their pants from sheer fear that the conservatives were actually standing up to the establishment. And, you know, they were trying to shut this thing down, but Rand Paul and Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio just kept this thing going. They just kept it going, folks. Now, here's the thing. So, okay, Obama and McCain and Lindsey Graham, the cool kids, get back from the restaurant, and they get back from smoking joints out on the school parking lot. And the establishment, right, John McCain and Lindsey Graham are panicking. They're all saying, "Whoa! Whoa! No! You violated the Senate rules. This could be bad for us. We're already extremely unpopular. True conservatism is not dead. We can't do that. We have to compromise. And Rand Paul and Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz and all the other true conservatives are standing up now today and saying, no, we don't. This is what the American people wants. The American people wants us to stand up to unfair government rule like we're having right now. Folks, people have wanted someone to stand up to the Washington bureaucrats on both sides. To the Washington elite, which consists of Obama and some of the old rhinos, too. That's the old Washington, D.C. elite that's been in there for several years. And it's finally happening, folks. I hope this is the beginning of a new era for the rise of conservatism. The revival of America may be slow, folks, but it's going to come. It's going to come. Folks, this country's best days are still ahead of us. True, things have been really bad right now, but we are still going. I've been praying about this, folks, a lot. We're still going to make it. We're going to make it. Things must always get worse before they get better. And this may just be one of those times. We will survive. The majority of the American people believe in God. They believe in the founding principles. We, the people, still run this country for now. And we're standing up. And this is the way it will stay. And I'm still proud to be an American. Please support Rand Paul. Please support the conservatives. Please support your conservative commentators, like myself, like Hayden Calgar, like Jason Vealey. We are the next generation of conservatism, and it is exciting to be here. Folks, I've got to sign off, but like I said, I'll be back tomorrow on Blog Talk Radio. I'll see you then. We'll have a guest on, maybe. I'll make an announcement about that tonight. Anyway, good night, folks. God bless.